Hello everyone, welcome to your reading today. So, interesting reading today. Took me a while to get the vibe of the message that was going to come through. What was really strong and was confirmed by my own tarot card that I pulled today, which was the Three of Pentacles, was tapping into the energy of support. You could see that as feeling supported, feeling loved, feeling that energy of which is supportive energy. Okay, as always, let's get 3 piles. Feeling really high vibes around this reading today. That I'm getting actually super warm and it's very cold here. Well, it's cold for me, who's climatized to Brisbane. Anyway. Okay. Actually, I will take that one. Okay. So these will be your 3 piles today. I'll just pop them back. And I know I use these cards a lot, but I really feel like they are nice because they have like an oracle message. They also have a crystal, and they have, you know, clear numbers as well, which people like. So let's take a look at your cards today. For pile 1, you have the goddess Matangi and Heliotrope with already there is value. Okay. For pile number 2, you have the Archangel Raphael and Malachite with grace for the grand gesture. Also, just going back to pile 1, this is card number or crystal goddess number 888. Pile 2's crystal angel number is 444. And then we have pile number 3, which is the Archangel Adnachiel and Tiger's Eye. Tiger Spirit Rises with angel number 444. Okay, so I'm going to leave these 3 cards here. Pick whichever pile calls to you. You can go down into the description below to jump straight to your video. Otherwise, I'll leave you to contemplate which pile or piles call to you, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, welcome to your reading pile 1. Okay, so you've chosen an interesting one. You've chosen card number 43, Goddess Matangi, and the Heliotrope with already there is value, Crystal Goddess number 888. So this is the only one that's not an Archangel that came out today. And really interesting after reading like bits and pieces of Matangi, because honestly, before I even got this deck, I had no clue who she was. She's Hindu goddess, and she is a form, I guess is the best way I can see it, as like or an aspect of Saraswati. So she kind of comes along with the goddess values of Saraswati, talking about art, music, spoken speech, supernatural powers as well. But some of the other forms that she takes is related to pollution. And when I was feeling it or looking into it, it's like feeling, you know how they have like caste system in India, or like, you know, back in the day, probably more so than now, but it was like the untouchable. It's like unwashed, unclean, that kind of thing. There's something with that, and I don't know if, you know, we're talking about support. It's hard when you feel already like unsupported in a certain area of your life, or maybe unloved in in the past or unloved now, you know, all valid feelings. This is about being honest, although there is value. So, you know, to feel it, you have to see it within yourself first. That's really how this is coming through. This is like that's where we need to start. Okay. So already getting a little deep, but we'll have a look at some cards. Get some cards for you. And it's not just like telling yourself there's value. You have to feel it and believe it, right? It has to be true. So it could be a long internal kind of uncovered journey or something like that. I don't know how to word it exactly, but that's kind of how it feels. Also listening to a handpan music while I read your cards today, as always, because it's just so good to vibe with. Like, it's so good to get into the rhythm of flow and energy. But it's called Moving Mountains. So, you know, that could play into your reading as well. Like, it's a challenge, right? Moving mountains would be a challenge. Okay. I'm going to flip these first and then have a look at your tarot. All right, so interesting. We're talking about support. Your first card here is Alchemy. She's holding a little crystal here. It's shining really close to her heart space. So it's really like seeing, what do I have in hand and what do I feel inside? This both has to be true. Although this is an energy of support, it also feels like support or feeling support from your guides, from, you know, your belief system, whatever you believe in, you know, that kind of place, and finding that from within instead of on the outside. There's something about that. It's almost like, you know, you get put into a place where you have everything you need to get out of it. It's like, I don't want to compare it to Saw, but you know how there's a way to get out of the traps and stuff that are set up. So let's not put it into that kind of context, but let's just say into a room, like an escape room, right? That's just fun. So you're in an escape room and you have to get out. You know, you have everything there is available. You just don't know how to do it yet. So, you know, you find clues and that kind of thing. Have an internal search with the energy or the people or whatever you have around you. There is value now, is saying you have to value yourself first, but also there is value in the things that you do have around you to be able to shift, change, tap into that support. So this tapping into support is tapping into yourself, I feel. Alchemizing is always about, you know, using base products and transforming it into something else. You could see that in cooking when you're like adding flour, you know, flour you don't want to eat by itself. Butter, I mean, some people might want to eat butter, you know, but like, you know, to make a cake and then you have like a cake with the sugar and all that kind of stuff. All those ingredients turn into something else. And so that's where this is kind of coming into. It's like seeing too many pieces but not knowing how they go together. That's a journey in itself of uncovering, I guess. Yeah, this feels like a dissonance, like a distance, almost like a what do people get, like out of body? Not really out of body. Disassociation, like something with that feels maybe not exactly like that, but that can't see the path ahead type thing. And you know, your guide team, your soul is really understanding, comprehending that there's like a distance between, sorry, I just hit the mic, a distance between where you feel you should be or what you feel would create that and where you are now. So it definitely is comprehending, I guess. I don't want to say they understand what you're going through, but I guess in a way, kind of like understanding the situation. You have to go within. You've got the inner guide from deep inside. This support comes from you knowing what that looks like, also feeling it within you, feeling supported by yourself. That doesn't mean you'll be always, having to support yourself only, but you have to feel that first. Like that's a very strong coming through with distance and inner guide, very strong. All right, you've got Akrabamalu and the cuneiform. So Akrabamalu is kind of pretty much Scorpion King, if you've ever watched that, very much that. Kind of fearsome creatures. And also the cuneiform is just how they used to, it's kind of like stone tablet writing. And when you look at it and think about it, that's why instead of how we write from left to right, you would hold with your left hand and then hammer with the right hand, right? Majority of people are right-handed. It would go this way. So it makes kind of sense in that sense that some languages go the other way because of how it was developed in the first place, or the idea of writing. And that's another that kind of touches in on, I know I keep skipping over this, but that kind of touches into Matangi. It's about speaking, like forming words into magic, I guess, or into comprehension, because really we, before we put any value, the words that I'm speaking now kind of mean nothing until we add value to it, right? The word nothing usually means 0 or less or like non-existent, right? But it doesn't mean anything until, as a society, we agree that that's what that word means. So take everything that you say to yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you think about yourself, all that kind of stuff, as an opportunity to see it as whether it's true or not, but just recognize that you're doing it. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty. This is all about uncovering and comprehending, understanding oneself, I guess is the best way I can put it. Because this even touches on friction. This is communication, friction, and gossip. That's the keys that I've put on this card. And, you can see the kind of friction here, and sometimes our biggest fears will manifest into something much bigger than what it actually is, or potentially it's not even real. I was speaking to a family member recently, and there was like this anger over what people might ask, but they haven't asked those questions, or they haven't even talked to this person about these things. So, you're kind of worrying about something that could happen instead of things that are happening. It's not actually real until it's happened. Oh, I do like this where you got Boitata and the Tech Puzzle. So I'm probably saying this wrong, but Boitata is really cool. I actually quite like this creature. I never really knew much about him until I got into spirituality, or kind of woke up, I guess is the best way I can put it. And then I see this giant fiery snake kind of around me. And I was like, okay. And then I Googled it and looked into it, and he's kind of like a spirit god in Brazil, or a snake god in Brazil, who wants to protect the land, make sure that the rainforests are all protected, that kind of thing. And then when it's disrespected or burnt down, as things are now, kind of starts to rage and not really get revenge, but just teach, I guess, a lesson. So that kind of thing, if things aren't respected. So this is defender, nature, fire, and sacrifice. It is a tough thing if we're feeling like, especially with sacrifice, if we feel like we can't do something because we're stuck where we are. You have a lot of options, I feel, with this card. There's many options. Some of them might be just challenging, right? Leaving someone that we care about in the care of others because we're not able to do it fully ourselves, because we need to do, family, work, or something like that, and we're trying to look after a parent or something, and it gets more and more challenging as things go on. Putting them into care or having a carer or that kind of thing can be pretty challenging and hard to think about or I wouldn't say own up to, but just like let go of control. There's something like that coming through here. But this is also about letting out some of that energy, this pent up energy around something. So this is like a big inner working, the inner kind of uncovering discovery. I feel with all these cards. Hopefully they're making sense so far. I would sit with this one for some time, especially if you feel you aren't supported. If you feel you are supported and you have that which is around you and you have enough of it, then take that as like an opportunity to be like, I do feel like I have what I need. Now I can start making some plans of what I want to work towards, that kind of stuff. But at the moment, this pile is feeling like starting from scratch, which is working on how I feel about myself. How do I feel about myself? How do I trust myself? You know, do I feel supported by myself? Does my mind sometimes flick into negative things? Probably, right? We're not perfect. We're not meant to just never have any bad thoughts or get frustrated with people. I mean, we're incarnated for that kind of like high and lows or ups and downs. So yeah, I guess take some time with this for sure. Also, Matangi again kind of makes me think of having support, even from like if you're an artist or want to create something, even from like music. Like, you know, I was listening to music while I do this reading, even listening to something that helps us get into flow, that can kind of be a support, all that kind of stuff. All this kind of like, don't have to, you know, do anything specific. You can really utilize everything that's out there. The great thing about the internet is there's so much knowledge and information out there, and you know, that again touches on Saraswati's kind of, even though this isn't Saraswati, like this is an aspect of, but you know, that learning, knowledge, education. Okay, so you have the King of Cups, sorry, the Knight of Cups. It feels like going deeper, because Knights, not that then they're shallow, but it's just like, you know, the action, the kind of like doing. It's like once that that deeper inner work is done, going towards, you know, something that's that I guess exudes from that knowledge that you've learned from the inside outward. There's also like another part of this card touching on, you know, if you're only having like very surface level conversations with people because, you know, that's the level of the relationship or friendship, starting to find more deeper connections. Sorry, I'm just having a little drink as well. But then you've also got the world coming together, understanding, comprehending knowledge and wisdom and growth and understanding, like actually understanding. It's not, I mean, I can't say it's just not what we go through, but it's really like what we learn from the things we go through. That's the biggest step. Because there's always a lot of different kind of learnings in the challenges. And the stuff that'll be popping up in your head while I'm speaking about that, or just a lot in general, those will be kind of little messages to remind you of like how far you've grown or what you've gone through, what were the blessings of it, that kind of thing. So you don't have to relearn a lesson. It's interesting, when I was pulling this card, I was like, there feels like a disconnect with the distance as well. And then we go, getting the 5 of Pentacles coming through. Let's see, what can help you with support? Not being afraid to open up as well. You know, the 4 of Pentacles, especially with the 5 of Pentacles, it's a tough one if you cycle through this. It's like, I get something, I'm holding on to it so I don't lose it, and then feeling like a loss or a disconnection. But if you're isolating yourself, or you're not letting yourself be real with yourself, that can be pretty difficult, right? That can be a tough one. So let yourself be open and free. And honestly, it opens up the idea of vulnerability, but it's kind of like a two-pronged thing. It's like you open up yourself to vulnerability, but you set yourself free. How can I word it? It's kind of like when someone is scared of letting their parents know they're dating or something like that, right? For whatever reason. Strict parents, whatever. Helicopter parents, whatever. And so they start to do it. They like talk about it and open it up, and instead of feeling like disconnected from the parents because they stop wanting to talk to them because they don't want to let it slip or anything like that, and so they feel more and more distant because they're holding on to like what they think will upset them or fear them or let them or make them angry, or they don't know what's going to happen, right? And then they start to just talk about it. Then at least, regardless of how they react, they've set themselves free. That saying, the truth will set you free. Very true here in that kind of scenario. Yeah, this is a place of learning. So make sure you're learning the lessons or getting the point of the stuff you go through. That doesn't mean you have to hunt for it. If it doesn't come through or like you can't really see it, maybe talk to people about it for sure. I feel like the Page of Pentacles, there's a lot of pentacles down here. So this is definitely things that I wouldn't say the actual things are what you wanted to go through before incarnating, but I would say the things that you go through help you learn the lessons that you wanted to learn before incarnating. Does that make sense? So it's more of like not the actual things that happen, but the lessons that are learnt. And then you're finishing off with the Two of Swords. This feels like clearing out a lot of the, the noise. A lot of the noise, especially here with the gossip kind of energy or the like, things being said about you or written about you. You can't stop those kind of things. What you can do is not let it impact you or affect you, because why does someone else's opinion of you really matter? And that's a good question to go within and kind of work out as well, if that's relevant to you. All right. So let's see, your message of support. There's a lot here. There's a lot here, like a lot here. I feel like I could pull cards forever, but this is also open to many different people taking this reading. So I feel like after that, it gets more specific for individuals. But overall, wherever this kind of marries up, if it's like the artist needing to connect more with music or the flow or people, getting out, then go that way. If this is about your own inner self-worth and distance between people and yourself because of whatever you're holding on to or whatever you feel is makes you, this isn't about judging it. It's just about recognizing, and start with your own self. Be your own guide. Disconnect from that which is no longer serving you, whether you have to do that physically, whether you have to do that mentally. That's what's going to be helpful, so it doesn't get into a place of this doesn't even feel like borders being crossed. It feels like walls being crossed, like walls being broken down. So just tend to all your boundaries and also see which are turned into walls. Walls are immovable, right? I was listening to like this music, the mountain, which is immovable. Walls generally are immovable until they're busted down. That can be a big wake-up call or shock. You're on a good path, just so you know. This isn't doom or gloom. This is just about recognizing and finding that hopeful candlelight within, so you can feel free and open to be yourself. That's it. That's all you really are here to be, is truly you. And then start to have more of a deeper connection with self and others. Once you understand and comprehend yourself, you'll see some of the other relationships around you potentially fall away, not apart in a negative way, but just like fall by the wayside, because those surface level relationships become less important. they can be still fun, of course, and necessary, especially in like work environments. But they don't have to. You know, there's other kind of connections and people out there. You might even start listening to podcasts that touch on deep things that you're interested in, right? If you can't find the people, and then you find groups or things like that and start chatting there, or find a person that you can really connect with, or even just the podcast itself, it just resonates. So, you know, go exploring. We have the internet. You have everything you need to be able to work through many of these things. Take your time with it. This isn't about your masculine or feminine. This is about, you know, duality, all aspects of life, all really. Removing a whole bunch of labels. This could be a really good thing for you as well. But hey, I'll leave that there. I'll let you be the judge. I did want to pull a card. Where was it? Oh, there we go. Before we leave, I'm going to just pull a Starlight card, and then I'll let you go. This feels really good though. Like, it feels like if you ever thought you were on the wrong path, you're on the right path. Just because difficult things happen doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Or challenging thoughts or emotions, right? That's not a wrong path thing. That's just a world thing. There we go. Dark side, don't hide yourself away. Look at that. It matches so well with that little guy. Yeah, you're meant to be open and free. And you. Does that mean everyone's going to like it or subscribe to it? No. But just be you. You don't have to sugarcoat you. Just be you. Just be you. Okay, I'm done now. I'll let you go. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, Pile 1. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, Pile number 2. So you've chosen the Archangel Raphael and Malachite with Grace for the Grand Gesture. Sounds very grand, right, with the grand gesture. Kind of, when I think of grand gestures, sometimes like a little bit, this is just personal, but I kind of think, you know, that kind of thing. Like, oh, here we go, kind of making a big scene type stuff. But when I stop and think about it and get out of my own kind of like ego mind, what's the like light aspect of the grand gesture? And it feels like a grand gesture is to very clearly state a message, right? Very clearly state their love, their support, their health, their healing, their state of mind. Like a grand gesture might be, generally we don't see it as negative, but it could be just blurting out something very loudly because you get into an argument with someone and it's like the truth. It's like your truth just comes on out. Something like that. So it's an interesting one. Malachite feels like transformation, healing pain, healing past pain, healing current pain, but also transformative. It's an energy of change and shift. And Archangel Raphael, generally seen as like the healer. The healer, so this could have some healing pain, overcoming some old pains as well. And also the green definitely touches on the heart chakra. So this is a message of support, or like how can you tap into the energy of support. I think we're just going to leave it open to what does the energy of support want to tell you today with all this interesting an interesting energy from this card, like a strong energy. Also, when I was shuffling, I was like getting the message of maybe this is ancestors, maybe this is your guides, maybe this is Archangel Raphael, but energy of, what was it, pride? Like being proud of your journey. So take that with you as well. Like, you know, very proud of. Because I was like, I'm feeling so proud of you. Obviously, I don't know you or who's watching this, but it feels like a lot of pride. Oh, well, it's interesting. That one popped out in pile 1 as well, so if you're drawn to pile 1, I'm going to take it. These were shuffled beforehand, So the fact that it just flicked out from wherever it came from is interesting. Maybe a similar message there. All right, so let's take a look. Since this one's popped out, we'll have a look at it. You've got the Akrabamalu. I don't know why I've called it that. It's really like a Scorpion King type situation, a human scorpion. So there's like conflict, anger, that kind of thing, but also with the cuneiform. So cuneiform is, you know, writing into stone, old school writing into stone. There's also here, it says friction, communication, and gossip. So it could be difficult conversations with another, which is kind of interesting. There's definitely, you know how I said with that just having an argument, blurting out truth, there is this need for a conversation with someone in your life. Maybe it is around support, but I think it'll support both of you by either initiating it or getting, letting someone, you know, getting the information or being informing someone of something. That's kind of as like gray as I can leave it. It's like there's some kind of communication. Yeah, ooh, grand gestures and say what you mean. Say what you mean. What else do I have to say to this card? Speak truth, don't speak in code. Don't assume they should understand what you feel or mean. No. Say what you mean. Speak truth to it. That doesn't mean you have to be an ass. That just means, like, you know, you inform the person of what you need them to know. I'm feeling like crap, right? Or like something like that, if that was true. I could hold on to that, not tell anyone, and just kind of, it would radiate out. I would start saying snippy things or things like that, or like my attitude, that kind of stuff. If things aren't working, say why and what you need to say. I'm just going to quickly change the music. All right, so some more handpan music. This is called the Golden Light Meditation, so that's interesting that it's called that, because I just go to the next thing that pops up on YouTube, and golden light makes me think of shining a light on a particular area. Sometimes the golden light can also be when, you know, you feel like you're in the light, but you're actually in shadow. You can see when people that are like spiritual sometimes get into the golden, like into some kind of light that is actually just them overhype, I guess. It's not a bad thing. It's just like you go through whatever process you go through, right? But it's just like you can kind of see it. It's like ego light. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. You've got the sparkling seedlings, growth and discovery. Yeah, that's why I think the pride's here. The proudness from these guides, ancestors, etc. This from spirit, really, from the idea of support. It's like everything is going into its plan and the way it needs to go through to come out. The sooner you get to speaking truth, the sooner you can overcome this. It's actually freeing. The truth will set you free. Ooh, interesting. You got the blank card. This card's intentionally left blank. So how you do it and how you process it and how you go through this is completely up to you. It's always up to you anyway, but just the fact that it's open will, you know, especially next to say what you mean, formulate this conversation and how you want to express it, know what you need to say, and say it the way that you feel is right, not in the way anyone else, like if I do this, will that be better? Go into forums, like if I need to say this, how would you say it? No. You need to form this yourself, because then it'll be true, because it's from you, not you know, recycled from someone else. It's okay to get ideas, of course, but there's no copy and pasting here. Okay. Yeah, and you've also got the aswang and the pilocintos, which is, the aswang is kind of like a I guess a scary creature in Filipino culture, sometimes seen as like vampiric, sometimes seen as like, you know, just a shadow being. In this depiction, you can see here she's sleeping, she's dreaming about, you know, what she desires, and she's not paying attention to the energy she's wasting, or that's being drawn from her, you could say here, with the kind of like looming presence. It talks about manipulation, desire, and materialism. Don't do anything for... Don't, I mean, I wouldn't say don't do anything for money. I would say don't do anything outside of your comfort zone just to feel like you'll be ahead, because you don't have to do anything or say anything or be anything other than what's true to you. And it has to come out in a, it doesn't have to come out in a grand way, but it should come out in a way that's very clear. Very, very, very clear. If you're not interested in someone, tell them you're not interested if they keep hanging around. Be very clear with that. If you want to leave a relationship, leave the relationship. Don't just wait for like someone else to do it for you, right? This is an opportunity to grow and learn. That's those kind of like along those lines. If you're interested in someone, tell them you're interested in them. If you want to get married, don't drop little hints and stuff and passive aggressive. Tell them, I would like to get married. You know, why not? This isn't, we don't have to follow on from what happened on Bridgerton or like in TV shows or like the old days or like your family around you. This is about doing it your way. This is your open canvas. Paint the picture you want to see, not what you think people think you should want to see. Right? With this one, no. Cares what people will say. They're not living your life. Okay, I'll stop ranting. Not really a rant though, just feels like a very clear message. I mean, you chose the grace for the grand gesture, and grace really is about, like I said, not being an ass about it, not just like blurting it out in an angry sense. It's about calmly speaking truth, right? Saying exactly what is true. Whatever that may be. And like I said with the painting thing, like even if that's painting a picture, right? Painting a very clear picture. Being very clear. Okay, let's take a look at the cards. So these are the tarot cards. You have the Lover's card. Say what you mean. You also have seven. It's just so funny when the cards come out like this. Like I said, I didn't feel like it was necessarily going to be like relationship wise, but it's like, it's definitely about someone close to you, right? It's about what you need to share. Sometimes that can be really hard. I can definitely understand that because I've picked it up with a lot of people in my lifetime with certain things, especially with like family and parents, right? They can be in particular ways for a long time, or that you start to see the signs of bitterness or anger or something like that. And it's like, how do you word this? When's the right time? That type of thing. Or maybe they don't feel supported, or you feel supported, or whatever, or loved. It's making it very clear that, you know, you're not just saying you're there. You know, if you need anything, just message me. It's showing it as well. It's being very, very clear. How you do this, so many ways, so many options and particular ways. I like this. It's like you have a lot of support here too. We're talking about support in this, and it's like there's a lot of certain energies around you that can help you through this like period of shift and change, transformation. Okay. So you got the Five of Swords. Yes, I can understand that, especially with this one here, right? It's like, what's the right thing to do? I don't want to change things up if it goes bad. But if you're not experiencing what you want, then change is not going to bring, you know, bad things. It's going to get you out of the thing you don't want to be in anyway. So what's the point? But, you know, take your time. I'm being very, like, brash about it, but I kind of don't really care. Like, it needs to come out this way. It's the feeling in this reading. So you've got the Nine of Pentacles. Yep. This is like knowing the value, knowing worth, knowing your worth, knowing your value, knowing what real support looks like, knowing what supporting yourself and your dreams and your goals really looks like. So this is like growth and comprehension. She hasn't got to the Nine of Pentacles here through dumb luck. She hasn't just like won the lotto, right? Or something like that. She's worked her ass off for it. I guess this is like how it's coming through. And here she's grown with wisdom. She's learned. She's like the owl as well. And she's still her without having to compromise who she is. Yeah, I like this building, you know, even if you have to, like, it looks like you're taking a step back, in the spirit energy, it feels like you're taking a leap forward. So this is like, you'll be able to weave and grow and create a new path forward with this. You'll find the right people that are around you, not these kind of like energies or feelings or people. They may not even be real people. It might be like, if I say this, all these people won't like me, or this kind of energy won't like me. Well, you'll find the right people who actually help to repair, weave, recreate a new path. I mean, you've got support from Archangel Raphael. The healing will be, you know, strong. The help, the support will be very strong in spirit. Yeah, you'll be able to regrow, renew, and start afresh, start a new project, start a new job, start a new relationship, start a new career, you know, whatever it is, start a new hobby, whatever. You'll be able to start planting the seeds and seeing the benefit of the shift and change that you're needing. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be true with yourself, understand what that means for you first before you can with others, and then start going on this journey of growth, because there's a lot of growth here, right? A lot of growing, a lot of growth. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to pull you one more card from here, and then we're going to leave it. So I think I've spoken enough. But I like this. I think it almost touches on a lot of stuff that I've been through too. Not a lot of stuff, but just like certain things, especially around relationships. In a past relationship, I probably let it continue, trying to try different things, hoping that it would just be better without really talking to the real issues of it. And obviously it didn't work, because you can't just hope for something to just shift and change. You have to, you know, be a part of the process. So a big grand thing, a big change that you're kind of like iffy about, that doesn't really relate to the core issue, isn't going to fix it. It might blanket it for a while, but it's not going to fix it. Singularity. So you've got, you are your own sun, moon, and stars. Yeah. You can do this for sure. You don't need whatever the fear is around the loss that could occur isn't worth the, you know, the current struggle or loss that you're going through now. It's you can do everything by yourself, I would say, or like not by yourself, but like you can do this for yourself, because everything you have within you is perfectly capable of getting the goals that you're more interested in. Now, if you're in whatever situation you're in, if you're fine with how everything's going, maybe this is more touching in a lighter aspect. I'm going to speak to it from quite a big aspect because it's an open kind of reading. But, you know, take what resonates as always. Remember, what you need to speak and do or say in truth is up to you. And it must be your words, must be true to you. If you read it and you feel that's exactly what I need to speak from, and then tweak it in the way of like how it's like mentioned or comes across, but just make sure it's very clear. Okay, I'm going to leave that and leave you alone. Thank you so much, Paltu, for letting me read for you. This is a really interesting reading. Good luck with everything that comes through. Let me know if you have any questions or want to say anything in the comments, feel free. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, welcome to your reading, Pal 3. So, you have chosen... Oh, before I get into Other cards you've chosen: Archangel Adnachiel and the Tiger's Eye. Tiger Spirit Rises. I like this for you. It you know, it's got this hope kind of like looking candle here. It's about, it's like, it's kind of like feeling like it's time to step out into the light, or it's time to start you know, doing things for you, or going for things that you actually want, whether that's a feeling of someone else stopping you, or a feeling of yourself blocking yourself, you know, ego coming in and being like, ah, but you know, everything's fine the way it is, you don't need to do that, so let's just sit here and play it safe for another year or two. So this feeling like coming through, and you know, what is it, kind of like being a cheerleader for yourself, I guess, or being around that energy that is. This feels like a really old dream, or old kind of like energy wanting to come through. How does that play in support? I'm not too sure, but I don't judge the readings, I just read. But this is tapping into the supportive energy. Adnachiel also makes me think of support and loving, like a parental energy. Sometimes just that feeling of you know, unconditional love, but like real unconditional love, not like unconditional love, but I don't like it if you do this or that, or don't become the doctor I want you to be. You know, I'm talking about unconditional, not unconditional but conditional. I'm talking about real unconditional support. Okay, oh, this one. This deck's been real jumpy today. This is my deck too. Okay, we'll grab your tarot in a sec. Let's take a look at these cards. I see you've got procrastination. I mean, look, what did I say? Something coming out, but it's like, that's why it's like, this is old energy. This is an old kind of like task or story or something that needs to, you know, come through. This is a good time for it too. The Tiger Spirit Rising, this is that feisty, fiery energy, or that like direct energy, right? Tigers aren't necessarily seen as like showy. Well, that's kind of, well, they're not usually like out there like roaring and, you know, scratching and jumping around or anything. You know, they're silent and kind of admired for their beauty, their grace, like they're graceful. But this is also when they need to respond and react or catch their prey, they're like explosive, right? It's very quick to pounce on something. And so that's where this is coming through. It's like, now it's the time to hunt or to pounce or to get. Oh, we got the world card coming through. Yeah, very nice. With Lil Nas X type style world card. We've also got excellence, high standards. Yeah, this is feeling very Virgo energy, because it's like, you know, oh, I must get this done. And it's like, it's good getting, you know, in the background, getting all the stuff done, you know, the tiger spirit, like, you know, being graceful, being seen, kind of like in the shadows type thing. But this is like coming out into the light. So it's not about making sure everything is perfect. This is about, it's time to start making taking the action, I guess, taking the steps, taking the opportunity. And even the world card coming out, it's like, it's time, right? It's time to step out into the light. You also have the Garuda and the Sri Yantra with transportation, wealth, and fulfillment. Again, kind of does touch on the world. Like, you know, in the world card is about comprehension, understanding, coming together, finalizing an end of a cycle, start of a new. And even the transportation, the Garuda, honestly, makes me think of a UFO. And so it's like that quick shift or quick change, like a bullet train type thing. It's like, it's quick, but it doesn't feel like it, right? While you're in it, it doesn't feel like you're moving super fast, but you are moving super fast. So it's like that shift, that big shift. Also kind of touches on like Six of Swords energy, taking a boat across to the next like world or the next place after whatever you've been through. So yeah, finding fulfillment, finding what's valuable. Wealth to me in this energy doesn't feel like just monetary. It feels like what's really valuable. If I'm wealthy, I could be wealthy in like love and support, right? And that we're literally talking about support in this. So either, you know, working towards that kind of a goal. It could be monetary, it could be like actual money, or it could be just like getting exactly what you need to have a sustainable, healthy kind of relationship or home life or connection with yourself as well. Very intelligent person, but you got excellence here. It's almost like the excellence has helped you get to these high goals, but also the excellence has kept you kind of like feeling like you should be more or like you need more. You've got everything you need, just start doing it. Yeah, this is the mentalist with the destiny knot, knowing strong intuition and destiny. Destiny just makes me think of, you know, you're on the path of the learning that you are required to, not required is probably a very kind of biblical kind of term, but like what you've wanted to experience, what you've wanted to learn, what you wanted to grow in. So this is a good time for you. This is a good time for you to make some like quick leaps and feel that real fulfillment feeling. How do you do that? So many different ways. I'm going to see if we can get some more information with the tarot cards. Yeah. But I do like this. You know, you celebrate your achievements, the winning, the goals that you've got. He's holding his Grammys there. You know, he's got accolades, let's say. Celebrate those achievements you've achieved, whether you feel like they're important or not. You know they are. There's certain things that are going on. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. What do you believe? Empress, nice. Yeah, it feels like it's time to start birthing something new. Something that maybe other people or the past you would have been surprised about, but this isn't about living consistently. This is about evolution and growth. So sometimes you have to stand up for what you believe in, or like say what you mean, speak your truth, create an environment or be the person that you feel is more important to you. It's kind of like when people, you know, are like businessmen or women or whatever, and they're like, you know, a lawyer or something, and then they just go off at one day, probably planned, right? But, you know, from the outside looking in a month's time, they're off living sustainable life in the mountains or something, like in the forest. They buy a plot of land out somewhere, you know, I don't know, I'm thinking of like the United States, where there's a lot of certain states have a shit ton of land, but it's like, you know, they go out and then they just start living a more humble life, I guess you could say. Now it's not like you have to do any of that, but what do you feel like? What does that feel like to you? Because your soul is speaking to you with this card. You don't need to get more information. You've held back enough. It's time to utilize that intelligence and know the like the accolades that you've got. You've reached the top of your career, let's say, or you've reached the top of this particular situational thing that comes to mind while I'm speaking. What's next? Is it something completely new, or is it, have you finished this path? I feel like this path is kind of, I'm pretty much saying that this path has finished. Like, you know, you've learned everything you've got from it. You might have got to, you know, let's say a high position in a business. And there are probably higher positions, but it's like, do those feel like that's just natural progression and you should just do it? Or do those actually feel like that's what you want to do? Because this reading isn't telling you what to do, it's asking you what you want. What do you want? What do you want? All right. Okay. got the Knight of Swords and the Tower card. That's a big shift, isn't it? The Tower card and Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is like speed and quickness, but it's also about focus and knowing the direction you're going into. Will that make a change? Probably, right? Things will start to shift and change, but change isn't bad. And if you're like, well, I've been through enough change, have you had any hand in, you know, making those changes, or were those just left to see what happens and the changes just happen for you? This is about making change you want, not about just seeing what happens, because then you'll just keep perpetuating that cycle. Temperance, okay. Coming back to finding balance. Doesn't have to be too drastic. I think this kind of like marries nice with the Tower. It makes it feel more like, you know, workable. It's not about just going full steam ahead. It does feel like it's more shorter, especially with the Knight of Swords being next to it, because this is so quick that the Tower may not feel like it's a big drawn out tower, right? It's a short and sharp shift. But what better than once things are finished to make those shifts and changes? And like I said with the Garuda, that quickness, that kind of like speedy, you know, when people post UFOs or something online, like they're always seen like they're moving crazy fast. Okay, last card is the King of Pentacles, getting into a comfortable position where you can fortify, stabilize, and start to reap what you sow. Start to utilize the gifts that you have, or the things that you have gained over the time throughout this path, this you know, potential future path even. Also what you've in the past, like before this, because this is just a segment or a section of a path that you can walk down. This isn't saying that this is the only path, right? There's so many paths. You can sit here in procrastination for as long as you want, and that's absolutely fine. I feel like it's not fine from a guide point of view, but like from like just like me doing the reading, you know, you're the decision maker here. And then that King of Pentacles feels like you have the support from that which is loyal, and it doesn't have to come from a person. Sometimes it comes from ourselves. Sometimes it's surrounding ourselves with energy, crystals, animals that support us. And I'm not going to say go hoard animals, of course not, but like, you know, have that which is around you that you feel comforted by and supported by, because that's what's mostly important, especially if you're like a highly intelligent being. Even if you don't feel like you are, period. And you deserve to get what's really fulfilling, because this can be like fulfillment, this can be like fulfillment, and this can be, obviously says fulfillment. So it's about gaining that which is more fulfilling. All right, so I'll stop blaring on. Also, I like the little cat in the background, kind of cute. It's nice to have like, you know, cat, dog, Garuda. Little squirrels here and butterflies, and you can see the butterflies, they're like disintegrating almost. It's like that path has finished, and that Tower card, that particular journey has come to an end. Now it's the time for a new path that feels far more fulfilling, whether it is even like having a baby or something like that. If you're interested in that, doesn't mean you have to, because I'm very much not having children in this lifetime, but you know, each their own. If you feel like that's a path you want to go down, whether you're in a relationship or single, you know, take those steps. Do what you feel is right for you, not what you hope other people will just understand. Can't live for other people or to please anyone else. Phases. All right, so you've got shine even when you're not whole. Oh, that's interesting. Phases feels like cycles. You know, it's coming to an end of a cycle. This is a new cycle, new birth, new beginning. Lots of quick shifts. Well, I don't know if this really helps with connecting with support, but this feels like going on a journey or taking the next step after, you know, fulfilling or meeting the goals that you've already met. And even recently I was doing a reading for someone and they were like, why am I feeling so bored with what I'm doing and stuff like that? Did a reading, they're probably pretty obvious anyway. It's like, because you've finished, like you've done exactly what you've wanted to do in this line of work. Now it's time to open up a new channel. It almost looked like going to something completely different. And that's okay. You don't have to do something completely different. You just need to know that everything is possible. And that's it. Okay. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, pile number 3. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.